3 tips you need for your Airbnb. All right, so I am 1 year into my first Airbnb property, and I just came up with 3 of what I think are the most important and useful tips for somebody just getting into Airbnbs. I think these tips will help you avoid a lot of stress. It'll help your business run more efficiently, and hopefully skip some of the headaches that I've had to deal with in my first year doing this. All right, so my first tip for you guys is to have a good and reliable cleaning team. I think this is the number 1 tip out of all of these. I think it's the most important. Let me explain why. Essentially, for me, I'm managing this property from 3 hours away. So I can't just drive down there if a problem arises or if there's an issue. So these cleaners are the eyes and the ears of my business. They let me know when supplies are low. If I need toilet paper, if I need paper towels, if I need dish supplies or dry cleaning supplies. They let you know when you're running low on things so you can stay on top of it. In addition to that, they let you know if any guest did damage to the property before the next guest checks in. So, if something gets broken, I know who did it because my cleaners are going to let me know when it happened and I can address the issue. On top of that, for maintenance, they let you know when things need repaired, when things need replaced. So by having the good cleaners, they need to know that that's their job, to not only clean, but to keep you in the loop of what's going on the property. And part of that is having a good relationship with them. Make sure they get paid on time, treat them well. I met these cleaners in person. I put a face to the person. I'm not just somebody that texts them to do stuff. So yeah, get good cleaners and get cleaners that, are tech savvy, because that's going to make your life easier too. Because, for scheduling and cleaning schedules, our cleaners use the app that we use, Hospitable. So they can log right into that and they can see when our bookings are, when our turnovers are. So I don't have to text them anything in regards to bookings and when they need to be cleaned, because they're using the app. If you have some old school person I'm not good at technology, well, you're going to be texting them the schedule. You're going to be texting them when they need to clean. And, you need to get somebody that's in with the times and is willing to use the technology to make the jobs easier for everybody. All right. So tip number 2. Tip number 2 is to have a good and reliable keyless entry system. So when we first bought this property, it did have keyless entry, but it was some cheap thing that barely worked half the time. And it was honestly a giant headache because, the door would get jammed up, it wouldn't open. And, I was constantly messaging guests trying to get them into the house, and they would have to use the bypass key because the lock was jammed. And, it was just a pain in the butt. So very shortly after that, I replaced it with an Ufi keyless entry system. They're about $200, totally worth it. And it runs off of an app and has a camera on it facing out, which is nice too, because now I can monitor legally without invading privacy. I can see the cars in the driveway. Sorry, this hill's beat my butt. And also on that app, I can unlock and lock the door right from the app. So in the case where, some people don't get the code right, they punch the code in wrong or whatever, and they're like, hey, I can't get in. I just jump on the app, unlock the door, done. And it also works nice for if you have maintenance or something being done at the house. I can just jump onto that app and unlock the door from my phone 3 hours away. And it has a super easy battery life. It lasts about 3 months. So every 3 months, the cleaners have to take it out and charge the battery. It's a lithium battery, so it's not like double A's or anything. And yeah, that really made life easy. Now I can monitor things. Issues hardly ever come up with it. But here's another side tip on all of this is you need to have a bypass key for your keyless entry, because every once in a while crazy things happen and people can't get in, and you're gonna need that bypass key for them to get in. So I have a lockbox right next to the door with a bypass key in it. So make sure you do that. All right, my third tip is to utilize platforms like Hospitable. There's multiple options for this kind of stuff. I use Hospitable, and what this app does is it allows you to manage your Airbnb across multiple platforms. So if you're on Airbnb, if you're on Vrbo, if you're on Bookings, you can manage it all from this one app. So your calendar is all synchronized, all your dates, and it works really well. In addition to that, another big benefit of it is automated messaging. So on this app, you can set up your check-in instructions, your check-out instructions, remind people to leave reviews, and pretty much any automated system or any automated message that you want to send your guest. So that stuff's set up. It happens to every guest. I don't have to do anything. Once you set it up, the messages go out. The guests get them, clear instructions. It's that much less that I have to do. Every so often you do get guests that have off the wall question that you have to personally answer. But I would say, 75% of the time, the automated messages gives them all the information that they need. And, along with that, like I mentioned before, the cleaners can log into this app and they can get the schedule for bookings. And it's honestly, I think it's like $50 a month, but it's worth its weight. It really does a lot of work for you. So utilize the platforms like Hospitable. It's worth the money.